It has been a while, but I am going to do this one. I've zoomed in and I've had to crop things because my camera got moved while I wasn't using it. Um, Now, when it comes to the new year, 2023, there is a lot to unpack. In 2022, on reflection, the journals that I was doing were really beneficial. But what I found was happening is that in my head, I'd completed the thing I'd spoken about, which wasn't true. Just because I've spoken about it in a 10-minute journal, or in some cases, 2 or 3 minutes of a 10-minute journal, my head, for whatever reason, had decided I have completed that thing. I have explored that thing. And the thoughts tended to leave my mind and then would come back to me later on in the day when I didn't have as much time to go and explore those curiosities and venture into those questions. And this is, I think, is true for a lot of people that have lots of ideas and lots of thoughts and lots of conflicts with different topics, ideas, concepts that have come up, or they've seen questions that they've tried to wrestle with when watching a piece of content or after consuming a piece of content. And what I think I was doing was using my journal as an outlet to get them off my chest, which made making videos for Obsidian much easier because I wasn't thinking about educational science, psychology, philosophy, epistemology, all of those questions that you ask yourself and you don't really have an answer to straight away and requires a bit of exploration. And instead of doing that exploration and turning it into a project, turning it into something that I really wanted to look at, like look into and produce, I was somewhat palming it away every time I spoke about it in a journal. So, what I'm going to do for 2023 to start with is to see how my progress goes with a couple of the projects I have in mind, things that I was discussing in my head during the weeks off of doing the video journals, and see how that goes. Now, this is something I'm learning along the way because journaling is something I enjoy doing. But, like I say, I think the side effect of journaling with my thoughts is for whatever reason, completion in my mind. Whereas when it's an ongoing project, such as an Obsidian video, it's just ticking. It goes over. I don't have to task things out, plan things. I just get it done because it's on my mind and it's exciting to me. So I go through and get it done, which is why I think I struggled doing the educational science videos for the Danny Hatcher channel as of now, because for those vigilant and had a look, my Danny Hatcher channel is now Danny Talks Tech, because that's where I'm going to be talking tech, very original. Whereas the Danny Hatcher channel is going to be focused towards educational science, i.e., my research. So the Danny Talks Tech channel is the how I do my research, and the Danny Hatcher channel is the research. And the research videos were hard to do because it requires a mindset, an environment where my mind is engaging in the topics I'm thinking about. But if my brain is engaged in creating a video for Obsidian, or for Elicit, or for Explain Paper, or for AI, or something else, I don't have my full attention inside of that topic. Even though I'm engaged in what it is that I'm exploring, my mind still has part of it elsewhere, considering, oh, maybe I should do this in the edit. Maybe I could add this in the video. Maybe this would be an interesting link for the description. They're very small things, but those sorts of things play on your mind when you know it's in the background. It's background noise, even though I tweeted about this on Twitter recently. Tweeted about it on Twitter, duh. But background music. I struggle to work with background music. Any sort of noise. Because even though it might not be lyrics, it might not be songs or tunes or melodies or anything like that, and it's just static noise, it's still noise, and it still takes a percentage of my head. Because when I hear it, I think, is this really helping? Do I really need this static noise? What is the static noise actually doing for me? Which to me is a distraction. Now, obviously, there is some science to support some elements of music helping some areas of mental work, but it's too anecdotal for me when I try it is more of a distraction. It hinders more than helps. So those distractions, i.e. making an Obsidian video, making a tech video, pulled my attention away from the question I was asking, the research area I was looking into. Now, that's not to say I won't be darting between projects. Because I have a couple of different essay projects that I want to explore. One of them being The Dark Truth of Academia, working on the title. One of them being Next Gen Teachers. Another one, What is Productivity? The dark truth behind productivity, or something along those lines. The untold truth, maybe. Because there are some truths behind a lot of these topics that are familiar, they're recognizable, but they're not necessarily known. People recognize them. They see that toxic productivity is a thing. They see that the tips, tricks, and hacks of productivity lessons from creators don't always work for them, so they can recognize that, but they don't know why, how, what to do about it. And those are the sorts of things that I want to explore and discuss in these videos, potentially looking at some implications in the practical world. Not the theoretical discussing philosophy world, where ideologies, ontologies, and the way we think about things is really important and the descriptors we use is finicky. So what I'm going to do, like I've said, is not do as many video journals, see what happens to my output, and also engage in some other things I want to learn for 2023, because these journals, like I say, are mild distractions. So I guess as an update, so you're aware of my plans going forwards, the Danny Talks Tech channel will be Obsidian focused for the first month, maybe first 2 months, to focus on what's happening in Obsidian, what's happening in the tools that I use, which is mainly Obsidian. Then I want to explore Caracorder further. This right here, I'm around 45 words a minute now. So I'm working my way up, I'm getting into coding, and I want to be able to type quickly with the Caracorder, and it be my main tool of choice. I also want to explore sign language, which is a bit of a sideways challenge, I guess you could say. And the reason is I know the alphabet, I can do all that, but I'm half deaf, I'm half blind, and communication is part of something that I enjoy. Now, those speaking different languages, English, luckily to me, is spoken by the majority of people. And captions work great. But I still feel like sign language adds an element of effort towards communicating with people that don't necessarily have the same access as everyone else. And it's something I'm also interested in because of my own disability, my own hearing disability, and I'm going to call it that. Because I've been putting it off for years, and it's an ability that I don't have, hearing out of this ear and seeing out of that eye, so it's a disability. There's a negative connotation put on the term, which I'm throwing out in my own mind, my own mindset. So yeah, there's that. But my main focus for 2023 is pushing educational science, pushing that research, pushing it for me, and spreading it for others, because I'm not sure how many others recognize some of the intricacies of educational science. It's very much there's education, it's a teacher, it's a coach, that's it. The educational system, the educational department in the UK, just in general, is slept on when you look at the news. The news is about world wars, world climates, world economists, and the money, the business, the tragic things that have happened in the world, journalism, but there's very few educational topics that come to light. And I think that's because journalists don't grasp how education impacts much of the world. Education impacts all of the stories that they discuss, but because they're not familiar with the psychology, philosophy, epistemology behind educational science and the pedagogies and andragogies that are used, they can't discuss it because they don't have the words to use. They don't really grasp the questions that would be relevant. So that's what I want to try and do. Push the educational science into potentially mainstream, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's me signing out probably for January 2023. I may be doing like monthly updates, but yeah, that's what's happening with me. Hopefully, you're having a good start to the new year and going with the habits.